Pro bono is an integral part of our culture, and we take it extremely seriously. We certainly make every effort to match our pro bono cases to each lawyer's core expertise and passion. And lawyers at all levels in the firm have shouldered their share of the pro bono matters. Everyone contributes, from candidate attorneys through to the most senior partners. And we also collaborate with other organizations in many different areas to promote access to justice and build confidence in the rule of law.
We care about our clients, and we care about the legal problems that our clients have that they bring to us. And it doesn't really matter to us whether this is a huge client or a small client, massive legal problem or a smaller legal problem, and whether we are going to charge a lot of money for the advice or maybe a little money for the advice, or maybe we're not going to charge for the advice at all. The lawyers here with me, underneath all this suit stuff, actually care.
There are things that you can do from a legal side that will help you at that point, and those are very easy things to do. Setting up a company, if that's what you need, depending on the type of business that you're going to have. It's actually the process of going through the legal structuring and the legal debate and negotiation with your partners that I think is incredibly important.
People join politics in different parties to get on. Our response is to use what the freedom, the rights, the capacities, and the institutions that are entrenched in our new democracy to bring about the changes that we want.
Law is not only about making money. Law has a higher calling. Law can be used as a weapon in order to achieve greater good in society, and law was used as a weapon in those days by all of us in support of the struggle for our democracy. And that was the beginnings of pro bono lawyering as I know it in South Africa. Law will remain a weapon to achieve good. One must make sure in lawyering, in our pro bono lawyering, that we do not reduce the seriousness of the things people do. And because we are overall doing good, we may be tempted to reduce the moral seriousness of what our clients do. True pro bono lawyer preserves ethics and makes sure that where the opposition is right, we say so, and where the opposition is wrong, we say so. Where our clients are wrong, we say so.
John was very involved in a number of political cases, as I say, immediately following what happened on the 16th and in the months after that.
So in those days, it sounds quaint these days, there was a genuine feeling among, a principled belief amongst the partners in Bowmans that lawyers had a duty to act in unpopular causes, and that we were asked to do that, and we had no alternative but to do it. We were scared. I used to be nervous to go and put my car away at night because of things. We were scared of the Law Society. It was difficult work to do, but Bowmans, it's one of the reasons why I feel such deep affection for the firm to this day. They stood their ground.
Pro bono legal services are, in my view, a key facet of access to justice. It is that facet that tells the small person who has no means that he or she also counts in the scheme of things. It is a universal phenomenon that access to justice in the developing world is considered the least important when compared to access to health or education and other services. In this country, in South Africa, we have a constitution that has embedded a human rights culture with access to justice at the core. The establishment of pro bono legal services offices is informed by a realization that no one must render service without being compelled to assist his fellow being.
Each individual at Bowmans is dedicated to do work on a pro bono basis so that access to law, access to justice is not denied to the poorest of the poor. We are a business that cares, a business that therefore shares our resources, our energy and our time.
The rule of law and the adversarial system depend on people being able to obtain effective legal services. You can't have an adversarial system unless both sides are effectively represented. No one should be shut out of the courts. Firstly, the rule of law is not possible unless people have access to justice. If you don't have access to justice, then disputes are resolved by force, not by law. Secondly, is that the state gives us, as practitioners, a monopoly on legal services. No one else is allowed to do what we do. It's an essential service for people to be able to obtain justice and for the justice system to work. Thirdly, law practice or legal practice is not a victimless pastime. It is adversarial and it causes damage to people. Finally, we have to do it in our own self-interest. We have to do it in our own self-interest because the whole elaborate structure and edifice of the law will fall. It is certainly at risk if there isn't access. In my experience, the most difficult form of legal practice is for poor people. Because poor people constantly bump into the sharp corners of the law. Exercising legal rights is very difficult for poor people, even if they have a lawyer available and willing to listen to them. And so your knowledge, and our knowledge and skills truly can change people's lives for the better. This is representing the project, which involves me going around the schools, the junior schools now, into the classrooms in the mornings and teaching them music and telling them about sailing. There's no music in the school. For the first time ever, one of our students has got into UCT College of Music and is now in the first year studying music, and that is Tamian, who's, there she is, I think she deserves a round of applause. No music in the school, the only music she ever had was from Izzy Vunga Vunga, and that very well-known teacher, come on, oh that's me, okay.
The role of pro bono programs like Bowmans should also not be overlooked. Prior to 1994, the legal mechanisms for the realization of human rights for most South Africans were almost non-existent. The use of the law as an instrument to promote and protect human rights is crucial to how our society advances and to how it heals from the injustices of the past. It is also usually the most vulnerable and impoverished who need access to justice to realize their most basic human rights, but who cannot do so without pro bono legal assistance. In assisting the most vulnerable in our society in realizing the right of access to justice, you as a firm are actually directly assisting with the realization of fundamental human rights, including the right to equality. And law firms such as Bowmans that practice pro bono work do to ensure that human rights are protected in multiple settings and to ventilate the full content of the various constitutional rights so as to achieve their realization.
One day, ngingafisa ukuthi ngibe yijaji. Mina ngichoose ipolice ngoba ngithanda kuba yimi police.
Play Africa was introduced to us about 6 years ago for consideration to render pro bono legal services to them as they were in their startup phase of their non-profit. So we have since then rendered corporate legal services to them on a pro bono basis. With the investment that we have made now into the children's courtroom, the relationship has evolved into the corporate social responsibility space. Important thing of this project that you want to introduce children at a young age to the concept of justice and to the concept of the law.
We've seen families come together and take roles and act out issues in the family that they want to discuss. We've seen schools and children come together and really learn about the different roles of the Constitution and the court.
We would like to wish Play Africa and the many young patrons that will come through its doors many hours of joyful and happy learning of the law.
Pro bono lawyering is very important at the level of empowerment of people, at the level of ensuring that people are not deprived of their entitlements precisely because they are poor. Because there is the danger we can misuse pro bono lawyering to achieve other results. And I think we must be very careful not to do so. We don't do pro bono work because we feel sorry for the people. We don't do pro bono work for the sake of the people themselves. We do pro bono work, I would suggest to you, for our own sakes. Because we, through our work, want to contribute towards the improvement of society, not because of the poor and vulnerable people, but because we want to live in a better society.